All right, we are live for the first morning check in. And as always, looking forward to connecting and just shaking some things up on my end, trying to get more coverage on some stories that I'm not able to get in the evening sessions. And so, as always, just tinkering on the back end, trying something different, trying to see what works, what doesn't. And I wanted to just connect this morning rather, and share with you some things that caught my attention, things that's probably worth just breezing through, trying to get a better understanding of what's actually going on in the environment, in the news. And so, for those who are plugged in with me, I appreciate you as always. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And so, doing the vertical angle just to shake things up, try things different on my end here. So, let me know if the audio is good as well as the presentation in general, so I can improve on things. And let me see here. So via thumbs up in the chat, let me know if everything is running smoothly. These live streams here, as I play around with them, we'll see how long they go, and want to just be able to check in with everybody and see what's going on. And as always, if you don't mind, hit that thumbs up button, show your support for the channel, and let me know your thoughts and what you guys are keeping an eye on this morning. Hope everyone is off to a great day, great start to their day. And so I was trying to figure out, okay, the format for this. And as I move along, of course, it will improve. I'll try to tinker around with things. I just want to, get better with being able to deliver information, package things up so that it makes sense to everybody. So let me know what you guys think. So it looks like everything is good. Thumbs up. Audio is good. Okay. Appreciate you. Let me just see what it looks like on my side here. Audio is good. Mike checking in with us. Neo's checking in with us by silver and platinum. So yeah, I'm definitely trying to take a look at some of the market activity. TB checking in. Appreciate you. All right, man. Yeah. So just want to check in real quick, share with you some things that caught my attention, and of course, get your guys' thoughts on things. We'll see how this plays out. Yeah, let's jump right into it, man. So I noticed this morning as I was just trying to figure out what was trending for the most part on X, just because those stories tend to be what I end up talking about later on in the day. And I noticed that between what looks like UPS pivoting towards layoffs, we got the convoy, and I'm trying to figure out, like, how did they get the title, or how did they get the title, the Army of God? And I have a lot of suspicion as to what that could end up looking like. We'll see. And then we have more information on the de-dollarization process. We have the UAE coming out with some very not so surprising information in reference to their new payment platform. So we'll touch on that, and then we will just check in and see what else is going on. So I'm gonna just jump right into some things. Got a sequence of about maybe 10, 12 pages. Keep it light this morning, and go from there. So I'll just jump into it, man. Let me remove some things off my screen here. And as always, as I mentioned, feel free to hit that thumbs up button, show your support for the channel. All right, let's get into some market manipulation in the mornings. I'm gonna call it market manipulation Mondays, or not Mondays, but mornings. Yeah, that's what I'll call it. So here, when I first saw this is before I prepared some things to drop, to discuss with you guys. I noticed that the price of gold was up to 2048. And then, like always, it's never a dull moment. Here we go. Let's see how this let me go here. Where am I at? So as always, typical things happen. Let me go back here. Let me get everything situated. So here we go. This is more like it. Let me zoom out. So yeah, so you guys can see what I see. So yeah, so we had 2048 at 9:11. Then we had 2047 at 9:58, and then immediately look at all this volume of just somebody deciding to dump the futures contracts out onto the market every morning the way they always do. And of course, it picks up slightly, but so surely. And it's just the manipulation never stops. And we all know not to pay attention to it, but it's just at this point, it's kind of comical in a sense. And so here's the same thing with silver. We're at 2305 as of now. Start out 2329, and so basically, slightly less than a quarter. It's just the same thing, man. So it's just, at this point, it's funny. But anyway, let's get into some other things, man. Um, One of the things, so as of now, the latest, let me get myself right here. Give me 1 second. Let me get this right up in here. All right. So, as of now, the Army of God, not quite sure who gave it that title. And so, the latest of what's happening is the fact that apparently there's a large number of, as they're labeled, patriots heading towards the border. And I'm assuming Texas and along that entire region will be, occupied with, you know, good-hearted Americans looking to, I guess, stand their ground, make a difference. However, that plays out, I'm not quite sure. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on that because the more people go down there, and it just seems like people, haven't picked up on the fact that the enemy that's pulling all this off, calling all this destruction and deterioration of our country, they tend to use it for their benefit. Good-hearted Americans wanting to make change, they end up flipping the script. And the best example, of course, is January 6th. So I got some headlines I want to share with you on that. But the latest and greatest of what the Army of God is up to. So I thought I would just thumb through here real quick and share with you some headlines, things that came across my feed. And so it was a lot of interesting stories here. Let me go back. Let me get into it. So here is the primary one that I want to touch on. Let me zoom out some. So this is, as you guys can see here, from the Daily UK. Let me make sure I can move myself over here. And so it says MAGA truck convoy called Army of God heads to southern border as experts warn border crisis likely to get even worse after a record 302,000 migrants crossed over into the U.S. So just like I talked about this last night, we're going to hear more and more about the issues at our border, but it's been an ongoing situation for quite some time now. And at this current moment, sending a convoy of individuals down there to, I guess, just stand as a wall between the foreign invasion and protecting everything behind them, their backside, which is our country. It's not much they can really do other than just show a presence, because if they have any type of military armory in their possession, it's good to say, you know, they can't use they can't use it. So other than just showing that they have something in their hands or whatever their approach is, what's the outcome for this Army of God movement? And depending on who's who's funding it, who's behind. I mean, I would like to say these are some, everything always starts off good. As I mentioned, you have people who really think that, taking that first step can put them in a position to make a difference. I understand that, and I'm all for that. But in this current environment that we're in now, any effort to do good will automatically be infiltrated by bad actors, i.e., the enemy itself, and used against the majority that's participating. And so, my whole point in bringing this up is right now we have people heading down there, and bit by bit, we'll get more information. We'll get video footage. But, what's the outcome? What is the outcome? What do you guys anticipate coming from this? Because as I looked at that survey, give me a second here. As I looked at the survey that I pulled out, that I put out yesterday, it looks like more people are actually concerned about the border than anything else. So let me see if I can bring it up here. Give me 1 second. So if I look at this poll, let me see if I can zoom out. So I'll bring this poll up real quick. And so I had more people share their concerns. So here's the poll that I put up 22 hours ago. And so as of now, 171 people expressed their opinion. And the U.S. El Paso, Texas border is 48%. So clearly, out of 171 people within the community, over half are really concerned with the border. Now, for those in the chat, this is where I'm curious to find out, what are you expecting the outcome to be for either the convoy, if it's of use or if it's of benefit of any kind, or this federal government's inability or deliberate act of not defending our country's borders, making it appear, or it could be sincere, that there's really a push against Governor Abbott in the state of Texas. But then again, that's just, as I mentioned last night, the El Paso stretch is just a very small piece of property that all the media is focusing on, when all along the rest of the coast, there's an abundance of entryways into our country. So just something to think about, because once again, like it's a major concern for a lot of people here, but I think it's being done deliberately to keep our attention on this event here, because it's near and dear to our hearts, meaning those who live in this country here, and they would love to have us just singularly focused on this while other events are unfolding elsewhere. And so it's those other events that I think we should also keep in mind as well, whatever they might be. So just a little something there. And let me go. I got a couple more things here. Here's another interesting headline. It came out yesterday. They get a chance to get to it, so I thought I'd bring it up today. And so it says, Fed surrection looms large as Army of God protest convoy heads to the border. And so this article here has a lot to do with the skepticism that a lot of people have as a result of the previous event that we all talked about. And so it says here, paranoia about the federal entrapment is looming large over the Take Our Border Back convoy, which departed from Virginia Beach Monday morning and plans to arrive in Texas later this week. It says by noon Monday, after hours on the road, the convoy has amassed just a few dozen participants, so the far predominantly men over age of 60. The convoy's promoters promise over 700,000 participants. Okay, so here's the thing. So this is this Vice news source here. Clearly, you can see how they're trying to, spin this towards like the conspiracy theory narrative, because they're going to use that pretty soon. It says here, the low numbers could be due in part to conspiracy theories, really Telegram channels for the convoy. It says would-be participants are expressing fear that the demonstration could be a psyop or a honeypot. It says, spearheaded by federal government and undercover agents with the goal of ensnaring right-wingers into a violent event. This is the basis of the January 6th Fedsurrection conspiracy theory, which around a quarter of Americans believe, according to recent polling. And so they call this a conspiracy theory based upon all the video footage that has surfaced about January 6th and how it was strategically planned. We had agents in on it, even the building security is on it. It's more than enough video footage out there, but narratives like this say it's conspiracy theory. And as I always say, at this current moment, we know there's no such thing as conspiracy theories, because everything that is labeled as a conspiracy is designed to distort truth to make those who are sane and in a right mind look like and seem like they're crazy, because they go against the narrative. And so just to give you an idea, let me show you this poll here that I'm referring to. So this is from a poll taken January 4th, and it says a quarter of Americans believe the FBI instigated January 6th post-UMD polls find. More than 3 in 10 Republicans have adopted the falsehood that the FBI conspired to cause a Capitol riot. The falsehood. So we see where mainstream media would like to have our attention. Trust the government, trust the process, all that good stuff like that. And then here are some numbers. Let me try to zoom in so you guys can see more of these numbers. And these are just figures, things that caught my attention that, might be bringing to the fold, might be worth bringing to the fold. But it says a quarter of Americans believe in conspiracy theory that the FBI operatives organized and encouraged January 6th. And so what's the guy name with the red hat? I forgot his name, but he was at the forefront of all the video footages, telling people, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And of course it comes out he's a, operative, and he got like a house arrest and like a small fine, while other people who are innocent in nature got actual jail time. But anyway, here it says definitely, probably, true, not true. So this is just a different demographics of our country here, of people who, and so for Biden voters, it says, do you think it is true or false that the FBI operatives organized and encouraged an attack on a U.S. company? And so the Biden voters, 69% says probably or definitely. Trump voters, 44% says definitely true. And then we got Democrats says definitely 13%, Independent says 30, Republican says 34. U.S. adults in general was more on the probably false. So Biden voter says probably false. Predominant of U.S. Adults said probably false as well. So that's our quarter part. But yeah, anyway, so this is just some things that is playing around this whole narrative of what's happening inside of the convoy. Okay, keep it moving. Let me get to some more headlines here. Here's a little interesting video here. I wanted to play the sound bite, but I figured it'd take too much to play it. But just more into Nikki Haley's back, how she's flipped the script so many times on key issues. So everything she's running for now as an opponent to Trump, in her previous speeches, she completely went against the grain on every single subject. And so this person here is basically just calling her out on the carpet for lying. But then again, clearly she has an agenda. She's been paid to do something. So anyway, let's get to something that is very concerning. And so let me move some things around on my end here so I can make sure this is visible. But it says UPS drivers. Let me minimize this. Oops, go down. UPS drivers pay and benefits deal in the U.S. to be worth $170,000 a year, firm says. And this was back in August. And the reason I bring this up right now is because as of today, UPS to cut 12,000 jobs after what its CEO called a difficult and disappointing year. So I'd imagine difficult, disappointing year has a lot to do with the supply chain situation, as well as just the increased cost for shipping and all the other issues that we haven't heard about. But to cut 12,000 jobs after this monumental pay increase that happened in the fall of last year. So we'll see which sectors of UPS are impacted. But it's definitely alarming and concerning because this plays into more of the layoff tsunami that's taking place in our country. And so you have a lot of people who are excited about getting that pay increase. But then again, 12,000 people, I'd imagine it's going to be office, corporate sector, as well as a lot of the newer incoming individuals, more than likely. So just to the point of when it comes to publicly traded companies in this current environment, there will be no promises kept as we enter more into the uncertain year of 2024 based upon economic conditions and everything in between. So 12,000 people soon to get letters. It won't be very exciting, what to say the least, but it says the company has stated that they are looking to cut $1 billion of annual cost. And where do you think they're going to look to trim some of the excess? It will be definitely in the labor side with wages, trying to fine tune the ship. And I wouldn't be surprised if they haven't already implemented a lot of the automation stuff as best as they could. So it says UPS stock is currently down 6% after the announcement. Over the last 3 months, layoff has quickly spread from technology companies to just about every industry. Shipping is now the latest industry to feel the pain. Not good. Not good at all. And then outside of the convoy, it looks like the farmers are really picking up steam and it gets no coverage. And somebody let me know in the chat, have you guys seen anything about the farmers on Fox, even Fox? You know what I'm saying? They're supposed to be like, conservative, real news type of reporting, but I don't watch Fox, so I can't speak for it, but I'd assume that it hasn't been reported there. But then again, it looks like these farmers are really putting their their talk into action. And so to me, this is clearly a genuine, real movement that when you have farmers literally disrupting everyday life in a lot of these metropolitan cities in these countries here, that definitely is an effort worth giving props to. And so compare this: Belgium, we got France, Germany, Belgium, Poland, and Spain. It says in revolting against their tyrannical communist sellout governments. You won't be seeing this on BBC or CNN. The states simply cannot ignore this. And so when you look at all these tractors, the interesting part about this to me is that we got people literally blocking freeways with cars. All like private sectors. We got taxis, we got farmers, we got I think some shops are joining force as well. And so when you have farmers leaving the countryside, driving into cities to park, to spray manure on, government buildings, to drop all types of produce in the way this disrupts society, this is a real movement. Now, the question is, how long can they withstand the force and the pressure has been applied to them in reference to everything that they're being told that they have to do by X amount of time? And so will it pick up and will it go from farming into other sectors in Europe? And then will we see events like this in the US? And this is where I'm like, the convoy, I think is meant to be packaged and sold as this type of movement. But then again, driving down there, standing guard, facing the south with your back to the north, i.e., in protection of your country, not quite sure what can come from that directly. And this goes into my whole point about what I said earlier, that to show real pushback against the government, federal government in particular, for each governor, like for governors, if our governors, the 25 governors that really expressed their support for Texas, and mind you, the focus is on El Paso, that little stretch, that bridge, and that little barbed wire area is a very small area. Why not take it up a notch and just talk about defunding, not sending your federal taxes to the government, to DC, to the heart of the global empire beast system that we have in this country here. And literally, instead of sending National Guard troops, more innocent people down there for the unknown, cut back on feeding them, i.e. with the currency, and then we'll see what really happens. And that's where I suspect that this whole protect the border movement, even though majority of people who are talking about it have good intentions on wanting that to come to an end, but then again, the way they go about doing it, I don't think gonna get much done. So I hope I'm wrong, but time will tell. So anyway, what else we got here? I got some more stories here. And as always, for those who are plugged in, man, let me know your thoughts on what's going on and what you're keeping your eye on. And we go from there. And also, I wanted to mention something else. So these are just some things that caught my attention, as I mentioned. It looks like Elon Musk, they found the first volunteer. And so I'm thinking, like, to be the first for an experimental trial of putting something inside of your head for science sake, what would it take? What was that person thinking? Was it like, it could have been a physically challenged, i.e. a handicapped person that really, really want to experiment because they have nothing else to lose type person? Or was a person incentivized by some type of monetary incentives to be willing to put something in their head? But it says Elon just revealed that the first Neuralink brain chip in a human was completed. And it says, imagine going back in time 10 years and telling people humans would solve telepathy in 2024. And so this little video here just basically highlights some of the key benefits or key processes for this whole experimentation of putting a small chip in the head and allowing people to be able to activate real world technology, i.e. cell phones, computers, whatever, and whatever else comes from it. But it's getting spooky to say the least. All right. A next little story I got here. This to me is very interesting because this goes more into the non-dollar usage category. I would say de-dollarization, but that is pretty much, a key buzzword that everybody uses nowadays. So I'll say non-dollar usage programs. And this is, I think this is quite significant given the fact that the UAE is kind of like the quasi, financial hub of the Middle East, similar fashion to like what London is in the UK and what Wall Street is here. The UAE has positioned itself as a very significant player, and they're a part of the BRICS. So it says first cross-border payment made using UAE's digital dirham. And so This is a historical event for $9 payment usage that came as of today. This was reported or last updated today, but it says first quarter. Yeah. So I'll just give you some of the highlights here. Abu Dhabi, Vice President, Deputy Prime Minister, Chairman of the Presidential Court, some of the big wigs. The board of the Central Bank of UAE marked a significant moment yesterday by initiating the first cross-border payment using the UAE Central Bank digital currency. And so Central Bank digital currency is up and operational. It says a digital dirham amounting to 50 million DH. If I'm saying that incorrectly, forgive me. But it says the Sheikh conducted the historic transaction directly to China through the M-Bridge platform while attending the celebration of the Golden Jubilee of the establishment of the central bank and the graduation of 1,000 Emiratis who comprise the first batch of the Ethra Emiratashes. I'm butchering that program, whatever that program is. But a lot of things here. Historic transaction directly to China. So being able to use the M-Bridge. We've talked about the M-Bridge before. And let me just bring this up here. So this is a multi-country platform. Let me see if I can let me see if I can find. Nope, I won't even waste my time with that one. But a multi-platform that has been developed over the last couple of years. It has several countries in it. China, of course, being one of them. And I think UAE, a couple Middle Eastern. I think Russia might be in that. So it looks like, I think, and I got to verify this, but I think a good portion of the BRIC nations are or have access soon to be to this platform here. So ultimately, what does this tell me? If you have the first transaction between the UAE and China using this technology here, basically just ones and zeros on a ledger that is interoperable, it lets us know that their future plans for trade obviously will probably be swayed towards this type of technology rather than the reliance upon their reserves in the Federal Reserve liabilities, aka the dollar. And so this is just one chip away at a time from the dollar-centric global economy, which once again puts the UAE in a very bad position because, whenever people decide to turn their back on the dollar, petrodollar system, things of that like, bad things happen in their countries. So the UAE, I'm assuming they're aware of what could be on the loom or could be on the works there, but yeah, more power to them. So anyway, these are just some things that caught my attention, man. Thought I would just bring it to the fold early because I know that, if trying to squeeze in 6, 7, 8 topics on top of the other topics that's going to develop throughout the day will be very challenging. And so as I tinker with how to pull this off and ways to improve it, definitely looking forward for feedback for you guys. So if you haven't already, hit the thumbs up button. Show your boy some love. I appreciate you. And so now I'll turn into just checking in with the chat, seeing what you guys have to say. Any thoughts, ideas, questions, suggestions, let me have it. And we will see what else comes about throughout the day. But it says, take all your tax money and buy silver. That'll shut the government. DD Prepper. That sounds good. And that action would definitely put a dent in things. But like always, man, the problem is 99.8% of the population, don't care about silver or understand the historical aspects of gold and silver as money. So amongst ourselves, everybody who's tuned in right now, you are a part of that 1% of people who are awake and aware of what's really happening in the world. So you have prepared, monetarily speaking, but then again, like, it's very small. And I don't see that number of 1% growing to 2%, 3%, 4%, 5% within this window of time that humanity's been given before, something breaks out and something happens. So as much as I would love to continue to reach more people to say, hey, man, get your weight up and explain to them the importance of having, your national currency insurance, NCI, as I did a video a while ago about, taking whatever you have in the form of your fiat Federal Reserve digits and insuring it with a percentage of equivalent value to replace and to be able to benefit from the destruction of fiat, it's hard to get people to wake up in time. So I don't anticipate being able to do that. So for now, it's just more so wishful thinking. But I hear you though, man. I hear you. What else we got here? Remember, Trump helped the farmers with new tractors. More monkey business. Um. Okay, so I'm sure we touched on that. Thanks for bringing that to the forefront. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but it's a clear distinction in reference to how the economy is responding and the financial system in general between the previous administration and this administration. It's been completely about decimating the working class with this administration here. And then during the previous administration, prior to the health issue, currency was flowing, credit was flowing, everybody felt prosperous. Trump was running out saying, look at your 401ks. Your 401k is on an all-time high because of me type talk. And I'm like, this dude don't got a 401k. This dude got an empire of real estate and he got vaults full of gold because we all know how much he loved gold. But then again, his job as a president to make those people who put him in office feel comfortable at all times by saying and telling them whatever, I guess sounds good. So, but then again, compared to this administration here, of course, everybody would rather be back in that environment where things felt better. The wealth effect was in full effect. Yeah, the wealth effect was in full effect. Full effect. What else we got going on here? Let me refresh while I still got you guys on here. Let me refresh and see if there's been any developments of any kind. And so we got through the night, and it looks like we got through the night last night, and nothing jumped off as far as Biden's been on the clock. So either he's running into some headwinds when it comes to congressional approval and things of that nature, potential backlash, because definitely if he just outright send assets to the more assets to the Middle East to try to respond to that whole Syria bombing, then it'll make him look even worse for this presidential election. But he already looked bad. Like, how much worse can it get for this guy? Like, we all know that everybody's anticipating anytime now that he's going to drop out, be replaced or whatever. But then again, it's like, okay, it's all bread and circus, as people love to refer to. And moving forward, talking about the presidential election that is months away. See, it seems so far away that it's like not even worth talking about, because between now and then, like, we ain't no telling what's going to happen. And speaking of which, as I refreshed my screen, looks like we have potentially, not necessarily breaking news, but from Mario Nawful, who does a good job of staying on top of things, one guy I follow, he says, breaking, Russia considers sending nukes to Cuba. First time in 62 years. Could you imagine? And so I'm assuming this is in response to the U.S. I think last week, or announced last week, that they're sending nukes, nuclear assets to the UK. And I think even beyond. I think another country might be involved. But the fact the U.S. has deployed or plan on deploying nukes towards the east, i.e. to support NATO, I'd assume this is the response if this is legit. It says Moscow is reportedly considering sending nuclear weapons to Cuba. It would be the first time since the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. And is this a response to the U.S. sending nukes to the UK? So, could you guys imagine? And just the level of what is it? It's called the Satan II. Russia's head nuclear weapon is called Satan 2 or 3 or 4. They got versions of it, but I've seen pictures of it in the news. That thing, this could be it. I don't know. This is it, but this truck here, like that, if one of these things are sent in the air, these things, the newer versions of their nuclear armory, can reach its destination, like, and Mach. It's like Mach 1, 2, 3. It's like one of them fast speeds where the U.S. response is. I don't think what they send in the UK is like top of the notch, like nuclear weapons get to where its destination in record time. So if it was to be an exchange of armory or of these things in the air, and if he put these in Cuba, they gonna hit U.S. soil well before they hit in Russia or wherever they sending them, UK sending them. And I wouldn't be surprised if they, Russia has something to intercept to minimize the damage. Because I mean, I imagine if it goes off, period, the ripple effect and the long lasting nuclear toxic reaction is going to be there, period. But if one of them Satan missiles hit soil, say goodbye. Ain't nothing to talk about. End of story. But just the fact that this is what they're talking about. The UK sends something, Russia sends something. Like where, where does anything out of this equal, you know, long life and enjoying everyday activity with your family and friends. So this is, looks like something fresh off the press. What else we got here? Let me share, see if anything else jumps off. Yeah, lots of things trending right now. I see. Uh, Never a dull moment, man. But I wanted to connect and just, keep you guys up to date in an earlier fashion. And it looks like Venezuela, Maduro, is going to be visiting Russia soon. And I'm assuming he's going to be pleading and begging to be in that um, the next batch of countries to be accepted into the BRICS Plus. And so he's probably going over there to plead his case. And what else we got? Lithium is trending. Gold is trending. Yeah, interesting stuff, man. But I'm going to dial back. Let me check in with the chat. Anything else is coming to the forefront, let me know. And we'll be back at it later, Lord willing. I believe those nukes are fake. I hope they are. I hope they're empty shells. But then again, why play? Why fight? Why play around like that? That's yeah, because I, unless okay, here's a hypothetical. Here's a possible scenario of what we're witnessing now. Let's just say, for example, this whole East versus West is a political theater, as I always say. They're all working together to accomplish an agenda that has already been laid out. Global Reset, World Economic Forum. We all know the layers of surveillance state they're building up. Okay, every country on the planet is doing it. So they're using this left versus east, good guy versus bad guy to really scare people, to get people all on board. Basically, if this nuclear stuff goes to Cuba, it makes it easier for the U.S. government to sell to the American populace. We need to beef up our war efforts. We need a armory package that like we've never had before, mind you, because we got to continue to expand the monetary base in order to keep things afloat. And so Congress comes together. Cuba, they got nukes now. We need another, Defend America from Nuclear Reaction Act, 1.5 billion, 1.5 trillion needed to ramp up, the war industrial complex and all the nuclear, tier 1, tier 2 suppliers to them to boost the economy again and all the effects that come with more currency creation. And so this could be a part of that to basically keep everything hunky-dory until it's not sustainable anymore. Something breaks officially and everybody's on reset mode. So who knows? But the likelihood of one of them nuclear shells being empty, I just don't think that's like worth the trip. Jane says the Army of God sound like a psyop. Yeah, like the Army of God. Like who like army of like who you fighting? Like army of, you think of Army of God, you're fighting like enemy, outright enemy. Like, Army of God, no convoy. Or is that a stab in the back against the federal government, or are you like going and considering those coming up from the south your enemy and you're the army that's fighting them? Or so yeah, play on words, a way to get people sucked in. It's always something to do with a patriotic type of narrative, like, for the home team, do one for the team, or that type of stuff that gets people caught up and get people on board. A lot of people sign up. A lot of people sign up if it's for a good cause that is sold to them in a way that makes them feel like they're a part of something. Because mind you, at this current moment, I think given where the world is heading, I think it's natural for every man and woman to want to be a part of something great, to leave a mark, to make a difference with whatever they can do in their family, in their work life, and with their gifts or call it whatever. And so A lot of people are probably like, well, I'm not going to war, but I don't mind getting in my car. I'm retired. Because mind you said, the article said majority of people are above 60. So you have a lot of people, baby boomers especially, that are entering into that phase of retirement. They want to enjoy their retirement. And they see how either the cost of living, the cost of Medicare, the cost of healthcare, all that stuff is it's squeezing in on that finite amount of currency that's been promised as fixed income. So a lot of people are like, hey, like I need something to do, and I want to fight back and resist against whether it be the federal government or its invasion. So let me go volunteer, doing it for a good cause. But then again, what will it produce? We'll see. But anyway, this is my little morning check-in rant and scanning the news airways. I hope you guys was informed on some things and caught up to speed this morning as to what stories seem to be trending a little bit. And curious to get your thoughts, ideas, suggestions on how to improve this. I want to definitely make sure this is something of value to you guys to check in. And so let me know via the chat or leave it in the comments afterwards, and we'll try to make this run smoother and more effectively and efficiently so you guys can get the most out of it. So, as always, my good people, appreciate you for blessing me with your presence this morning. Let's have a great rest of the day. Kick butt, make a difference, and enjoy life while you got it. And I'll try to log in tonight. So, see you guys then. If you haven't, hit that bell notification. Make sure you stay plugged in and be on the lookout for more, because I can, depending on the schedule, might be able to bring a little bit more today. So make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification, hit that follow on Rumble,